Hey guys, before we get into this video, I just want to point out this is actually a re-uploaded video, and will change your mind about this whole fight of Leafy and H3H3 Productions and Tommy. Please go subscribe to the creator, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye bye.
Why, Ethan? Why did you do this? God damn it. Why? For those of you who don't know about the current situation between H3H3 and Leafy, I'll leave links in the description to their videos, so if you're interested in knowing what's going on, you can click those and catch up on the events. First off, I just want to say, guys, that I'm not going to unsub from Leafy or H3H3. I enjoy both their content too much to stop watching. This is just going to be a video of me expressing why I think this whole thing that Ethan started was totally unwarranted. Okay, let's begin. I have to say, I discovered Leafy's channel way back when he only told stories about his life experiences and the community here on YouTube, and the internet in general, and I found him really engaging. Then when he started doing these roast videos, I was also on board, and while I will admit that sometimes he scrapes the bottom of the barrel in terms of what he makes fun of, I still didn't care. You know why? Because in my opinion, that's okay in comedy. If there's anything that Louis C.K., George Carlin, and a bunch of other great comedians taught me, is that in comedy, anything goes, as long as you make it funny.
You know, political incorrectness. Could we just bitch about that for a minute?
Oh, it's so awful, isn't it? It starts out as a halfway decent idea.
Right.
And then it goes completely wrong. It's
Right.
taken to ad absurdum. I used to go out and do these racial jokes. I'd say, French, you know, why do the French
Sure.
have so many civil wars so they can win one now and again?
I mean, hell, if we start to pick apart the stuff that Louis C.K. made fun of, and just nitpicked all the stuff that you're allowed to make jokes about, he'd be considered one of the worst bullies ever to exist, and a shitty comedian. Because there wouldn't be any comedy, or any jokes. I'm not saying that Leafy's a comedian, but in my opinion, Leafy is funny. And that's not to say that that gives him a free pass on everything he's done, but it just means that it's just comedy, you know? It's just a joke. Are we to the point now where no one can take a joke? Remember back when feminazis and crazy SJWs were saying, and still are saying, that making a joke about rape is just as bad as committing the rape or laughing about real-life rape? To the politically correct crowd, there is no distinction. You either make a joke about rape and thereby supporting rapists, or you just don't make any jokes about anything that's slightly controversial and be all nice and safe in your SJW safe zone, where everyone respects their feelings and nobody gets hurt.
Political correctness is America's newest form of intolerance, and it's especially pernicious because it comes disguised as tolerance. It presents itself as fairness, yet attempts to restrict and control people's language with strict codes and rigid rules. I'm not sure that's the way to fight discrimination. I'm not sure silencing people or forcing them to alter their speech is the best method for solving problems that go much deeper than speech.
Where do you draw the line then? Where do you stop criticizing someone or making fun of them before it gets to be considered outright bullying? How does Ethan know that John Sockers isn't autistic himself? He certainly acts like he's autistic. What about the enema lady? How do we know she's not autistic? Is anyone that acts just slightly weird now considered to be autistic? Or at least possibly be autistic? Well, maybe it isn't about autism, but rather making fun of everyone who acts a little eccentric, but out of fear that they may have some sort of disability. Now, I don't know why, but I find myself being very obsessed with someone like Joey from Joey's World Tour. Of course, I make fun of him when I watch his videos, but the other thing keeping me hooked on watching his weird-ass videos is just the way he fucking acts, man. That weird period where he only wore Mickey Mouse ears. The way he acts is so indicative of someone with the mind of a child. The complete disregard for cleanliness and coming across as someone who cares about his health. I'm just so fascinated that someone like him exists. How can he not understand that all the choices about his content are wrong? Ethan said that he has an eating disorder. Now, that may be true, I don't know. It may be just an excuse. But the fact remains that Joey puts out some dumbass retarded content that for some people is completely unwatchable. Should he just be let off the hook because he may have some personal issues? Of course he has issues. We all have issues, but what? We can't make fun of each other now because of fear that we may offend one another on some deep psychological issue that we're expected to figure out? Should we all just not make fun of Jaden anymore, regardless of all the stupid shit he put out? Because he might have that retarded affluenza disease? You know, that stupid rich kid that doesn't know how the world works disease that we're all supposed to take seriously now. How about when someone makes fun of somebody else because they can't pay attention to what's going on? Should we just stop that because that person might have ADD? Everything is a disease now. Everything is diagnosable and a medical condition now. So we can't make fun of anything. Because being an idiot on the internet is a very serious condition put out by the Board of Health, so no one can make fun of each other. Plenty of people made fun of Christian and his weirdness when he was on the internet more often. Should Sonichu be regarded as a symbol of bravery instead of ridicule now? By Ethan's standards, Djibouti should also be shut down for making fun of that fat girl who eats mattresses, because she has an addiction and regardless of the stupidity of her actions, should be let off the hook because it's not right to judge people even though they do very stupid shit.
So the idea that you have to be protected from any kind of uncomfortable emotion is one I absolutely do not subscribe to. And a fellow that I helped write two books about psychology and psychiatry, he was a renowned psychiatrist in London called Robin Skinner, said something very interesting to me. He said, if people can't control their own emotions, then they have to start trying to control other people's behavior. And when you're around super sensitive people, you cannot relax and be spontaneous because you've no idea what's going to upset them next.
If someone tells me that I've hurt their feelings, I say, well, I'm still waiting to hear what your point is. Right. I'm very depressed how in this country you can be told, that's offensive, as if those two words constitute an argument or a comment. Not to me, they don't. And I'm not running for anything, so I don't have to pretend to like people when I don't. Right.
In my opinion, Ethan is grossly overcomplicating a couple of ponage videos on YouTube. And he also acts like Leafy is the one sending all his followers to go send death threats and harass these people. Now, I won't deny that there is some influence there by Leafy to his audience, but if that was really his intentions, we would see him making these requests from his audience in his videos, and he doesn't do that. All he does is show a thumbnail of the person he's making fun of in his video, and that's it. Sure, it lets his audience figure out where to find these people, but that's it. He doesn't specifically ask them to go send them death threats or anything. All he does is roast and make fun of them. Whether or not you find him funny is a different story. Basically, Ethan is scorning Leafy for doing the same thing he does. The one major distinction, I guess, is that Ethan focuses on more mainstream targets, people who are more successful, but the fact that everyone is acting like such social justice warriors about an autistic kid who recorded himself crying on YouTube is so ridiculous.
As objective as I want to be here, I can't be. That's wrong. That's fucking wrong. You don't pick on an autistic person here on YouTube for doing what they want to do and following their passion.
Have you seen that YouTube video of the kid that's like, and you can't understand what he's saying? And he's like, oh, I gotta show that shit to you.
I'm gonna be a Pokemon master,
He saw the video.
I just saw the video.
It's like no one ever will. I know people are gonna be like, it's not funny to make fun of people, but it is. Face it. That's what most of you fucking watch all day. Ah, bad people. No, regular people. I was thinking about it today. I was honestly like, man, like people put on this facade of like, oh, that's so sad. People love to make hilarious. People love to make fun of each other. People love to say bad things about each other.
Yeah.
I mean, what? It only counts as bullying unless the person being made fun of is rich or has millions of subscribers or views? That's complete hypocrisy. Kind of like how SJWs say that it's only racist when it comes from power and prejudice. Why is everyone turning into an ultra PC crybaby? You know, the more time I spend on the internet, the more the Demolition Man future becomes more and more plausible. If you put yourself out there, you become a public figure and therefore subject to critique and ridicule. No matter what personal issues you may have, they won't become your get-out-of-jail-free card when you do something stupid. On the internet, there's always someone watching, and one of the most important rules of conduct out there is that you never feed the trolls. And if you give them what they want, which is to get you all riled up and give them a response, they're just gonna keep coming back. Because they know they can get that out of you.
If you keep feeding the trolls, you might just turn into a meme.
Okay, you guys, this is Jesse Splitter, and I
You know
just
what?
wanted to say that you guys have ruined my life.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Hi, Billy Mays here. The fastest, easiest, safest way to chop, mince, or dice any vegetable, guaranteed. Here's how it works. Just place the vegetable on the board, give it a tap, and you've got finely shredded cabbage in seconds for crunchy coleslaw. If you like salads, put all your ingredients in at the same time.
On a public forum like the internet, people are always going to have the right to make fun of other people. It's called critique and parody. It's part of fair use. You know, what everyone on YouTube wants the freedom to do.
The world is filled with assholes who can't wait to laugh at someone doing something the slightest bit embarrassing, like me.
The whole point about comedy, and believe you me, I've thought about this, is that all comedy is critical. All humor is critical. And if you start saying, oh, we mustn't criticize or offend them, then humor's gone. With humor goes a sense of proportion. And then as far as I'm concerned, you're living in 1984.